have not been live for a while. Hey, Leo. Hi. It's been a long time. Have not done this. Feeling rusty. It's good to see you all. For anybody asking, I don't know if you can see. Took out. So, pow! It's gone. No cancer. No skin cancer. So I'm good. I'm healthy. Did not get a nose job. Sorry, y'all. But it's good to see you all. So I'm going live today because a really important and sweet book came out from a man named. Oh, thanks. Crazy, huh? With the beard. All right, here. Let's view requests. Adam, if you are here, can you comment? 19 books. Let's see. 19. Let's get you on here. There it is. Invite. There's always a little bit of a drop off. I want everyone to know this is such a beautiful book that Adam has written, 19. And we've never met before, just over email. I endorsed the book on the back. And before everyone leaves, stick around because I actually have 4 extra books Adam sent me. And I'm going to be giving away 4 of these books and to someone on this live, to 4 people.
Wilson reached out to us as a family, and you heard about Hayden's story. You knew he was going into
Yes.
palliative care, and you wondered whether maybe he might be available to do a little bit of filming, because of what you
Yeah.
had done, with your series, My Last Days. And then COVID hit us, and Hayden was too weak, and it
Yeah.
didn't happen. But look, you and I, we
Of what this book is about and why it's so important and timely right
yeah.
now.
Whew. Well, there's so much loss in the world, and there's so much fear of death in the world because of what we've been through. And here is
Mm-hmm.
a book that is about a 19-year-old who had no fear of death. The way was gracious and calm and confident. And I think that's an extraordinary message from a 19-year-old who had his whole future ahead of him. So how did he do that? And what are the lessons that we can learn so that we can maybe have a healthier view of death ourselves, be less afraid of it?
Mm.
And more important than anything is not just that it's a story about someone approaching their death, but it can help us to live our lives more fully. And if it can do that, then it's really fulfilled a purpose.
Mm.
So I think that's the message. The way things happen, Justin, you say, how did it, what's the kind of background? Chapter one, we tell the whole story. So after chapter one, you know what happened, and you're not left hanging, or does he survive? How does that go? Or how does that not go? And does he make it alive? You know the story. So then the remaining 18 chapters are really the lessons or the insights that we gained from this journey. Maybe we
Mm.
should have called the book 18, but it's too late now. So
I like
that's
19 as a
that's
time.
really it. And what I did was I asked Hayden's friends and his family, what did you learn from the way Hayden approached life and approached death? And a lot of them gave me ideas that then became the chapter headings. So
Mm.
that's really the sort of the way the book came about.
I um I think this is so timely because feel the things they need to feel and then let it come out. And even for those of us that do, and I'll include myself in this, it gets me. I spent years making my last days. So just the thought that I had a little bit of skin cancer on my nose freaked me out for a second. I had to process this.
Yeah.
Am I dying? What's happening? Because we've just been around death for so much, for so long. How did your son process the news of cancer? And then what did he do with it?
Hmm. Yeah, it's a great question. And first of all, he accepted. I think that's the first chapter after the narrative
I love that
chapter.
quote.
Eckhart Tolle is one of the people that we quote in that chapter because he talks about acceptance, and that's so important. Not once did Hayden ever say, why me?
Mm.
If anything, he would have said, why not me? And, he had this incredible acceptance. He had a middle school And then he asked the doctors some questions, very practical questions. And then he reached over and he touched Karen's shoulder, because Karen and I were in the little
Karen's
clinic
your wife.
room. Karen is my wife.
Yeah.
And she was so close to Hayden. I mean, really, they were soulmates, and he adored his mother, and she was so close to him. You can imagine for a mother to be in a room being told that her son was no longer able to be cured, that he maybe had a few weeks, maybe a few months to live. And so she was sitting on the bed in the exam room, and she just kind of fell over into, just collapsed a bit. And Hayden, the first thing he did was to reach over and comfort her, not worried about himself. And then he asked some funny questions, and he asked the doctors, could he go skydiving? And, you know, he was able to bring humor into the room. And what a giant of a man, calm and poised and absolutely fearless. And, you know, he said to the doctors, look, first of all, thank you. Thank you for all you've done. And he said, I know you did your best. Happens after death. But he had a remarkable faith that all would be okay, that this life is meant to be abundant, and the next life is assured of more abundance. Like that Eckhart Tolle quote where he talks about the ego being the cause of so much of our suffering. I don't believe that the ego goes with us to the next world. And what a relief that will be. You know, if we can leave our ego behind and truly become the spiritual beings that we each are.
Adam, if you're just tuning in, I'm with Adam Robarts, who is the author of this really sweet book, 19, here, about his son Hayden and the 19 insights he learned during his cancer battle, which ultimately took his life, this life. And it's,
so Justin, I'm going to do something that you've just done. I'm going to hold this up. I know it's also mirrored, and I'm going to hold this up because actually it is really interesting. The two of us have written books. Here's Man Enough. Sorry, it's mirrored. And here's the book 19 that I wrote. And I think what's fascinating, I was thinking, what's the similarity? What do we learn from putting these two books together, apart from both being 6x9?
Well,
about transcending limitations through bold vulnerability, you know, and brave transparency. And here we have a story about somebody who was dying of cancer. And when you're in a hospital bed with your hair falling out and feeling awful, you are very vulnerable.
Yes, you are.
You cannot hide anything. You are as transparent as it gets. And I think what's really interesting is that here you have that same bold vulnerability and bravery before we get to that, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think these two books are actually really interesting because, living a life and learning these lessons by choice prepares us for the way we die. It's been
Mm,
observed in a lot of research that often people they do die the same way they live.
mm,
It's our graduation from this world.
mm,
Well, the choices we've made and the way we live our lives is often exactly the way we die.
mm,
If we live a life that is selfless and kind, thoughtful, we usually die the same way. I
mm,
think that's really important. So, and actually, therefore, to prepare us to live our lives more purposefully, more fully, more joyfully,
mm,
and with more of that bold vulnerability and brave
mm.
transparency.
I couldn't agree more. That's why we made My Last Days and
Yeah.
learned so much from people like your son, um, and really through the watching of the dying and learning how to live, which is really
Mm.
the irony here.
Yeah.
What for all the folks listening who might be afraid of death, what is the antidote to that fear?
I think it's one of the most beautiful chapters. Actually, one of the reasons I think it's the most beautiful chapter is because it's that chapter where, more than in any other chapter, you hear the mother's voice, you hear Karen's voice.
Mm,
Karen was gripped by fear. And, interestingly, Hayden didn't. He didn't express that fear. He didn't seem to have this gripping fear of death. So I think we have to look to myself, to look to Karen, look to others, how we associated with him and what we learned and how we dealt with our fear. So there is a chapter there. And I think that one of the lessons from Karen's story is that she found that at that time when she was paralyzed by fear, at that moment recalls literally handing over to God,
mm,
handing over to all that she had taught, all that she had believed, and actually making it real. And she just felt this relief, this burden, this crushing burden on her shoulders lifted. And she could then be more and actually be there with him, and be the extraordinary mother that she always has been
mm,
to him, and the support to me and to the rest of the family. But the other thing about Hayden's fear is that he was raised as a Baha'i, and just Baha's metaphor of the womb and how we've transitioned. Well, you should say this. This is
no,
your story.
no, 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 please. This is your
I mean,
book.
so this is a metaphor that I think many Baha'is around the world are very familiar with. Hayden, of course, was brought up with it, probably with his mother's milk. But this idea that in the in that womb world forever. It's comfortable and it's protected and it's nurturing, but actually it wouldn't be good for us to stay there forever. We do actually need to transition in order to fulfill all of that potential. You know, those eyes and that nose, those ears, those toes, all of it is being built up, nurtured and grown in order to be useful here. And so too, Abdu'l-Baha says that this world is the preparation for the next world. And our journey is an eternal journey. There is no end as we transition and graduate through all the worlds of God, moving like a lover, moving towards their beloved. And so that's what Hayden believed. It's what he looked forward to. You know, of course, he was 19. He was about to go and study architecture. He had his whole life, you know, ahead of him. He was smart and good looking and kind. He had friends. He had so much going for him. But he so, you know, I think when we look at a dark cloud, you know, it usually has silver lining, right? And the silver lining in any cloud is the magic. And when we look at death and we look at the fear of death that so many of us have, and we look at COVID and all the terrible things happening in our world, how do you look at that cloud and see the silver lining? The answer is you go to the edge of the cloud and you realize that the silver lining is because the sun is behind that cloud. And the sun shines and catches the edge of the cloud. And that's where the magic, the glimmering, the shimmer, that silvery hope, that's where the edge. You meet somebody who's just bullying you or is really awful. What do you do with that dark cloud? The answer is go to the edge of it. Try and find that glimmer, that silver lining that is the sign that behind the darkest cloud, there is still a sun. And Hayden somehow had that ability. We're associated with, and not in a way that is sort of wishful thinking, you know, or sort of optimism. But hope, when you look at a cloud and you look for the sun, it's not wishful thinking, it's confidence, it's faith, it's grounded on faith. And you feel confident to go, even if you go right to the edge where you feel you're about to be pushed off the cloud, you will find magic. And I think what's really interesting is that suffering often pushes us to the edge, you know, pushes us out of our comfort and transparent and catch a glimpse of the sun. So, yeah, I mean, those are things that when I think of Hayden, that's the language, that's the spirit that I associate with him and admire in him.
Wow, that made me tear up.
So,
Thank you so much for sharing that, Adam.
thank you.
What a gift you've given all of us, both. Turn these comments back on, and um, I would love to give away 4 of these books. So, so if you are interested and you want a chance to win one of these 4 books, go ahead and write. I don't know if you can see Adam, but we'll pick it. We'll pick the 4. Okay, we'll pick the 4. Let's see. 19. Who's gonna write? Who wants the book? And by the way, there's a little delay. Okay, Emily's the first one. All right. All right, Adam, go ahead. I don't know if you can see, but can you see these?
I
All these
can't see
people are.
them,
Oh, you can't see them. Okay,
but
only
I
I
think
can.
anybody called Emily definitely has to get a book.
All right, here we go. We're gonna go Emily. Get you a copy of one of these books, okay?
And
And
actually, Justin, there was somebody there. I just caught the first part of her name. It was Beat, and she wrote, "I just lost my husband in December, and I'd like a book." I
where?
think let's
Oh, I
let's
missed
find.
that. Where is that? Let's see here.
Maybe she can pop it in again. But I think first of all, and we'll get you a book. So you're going to be the book number 5. We'll get another
Okay.
book to you.
I don't see that comment here, but please send me a DM,
Okay.
and I'm so sorry for your loss. Um, Adam, this has been so lovely. I don't want to take any more of your time, but thank you. And again, if I called your name, please DM me. Oh, someone else lost her husband as well. Oh, I'm sending you so much love, so much. I really feel like there couldn't be a better book for what's happening in the world right now. So many of us have lost friends, and your metaphor about the silver lining and the sun went into my DNA, and that is going to
Justin,
stay with me
Justin, I'm
forever.
going to, can I just, right at the very end, I'm going to read the last paragraph
Please,
of the book.
please.
Because actually, you know, Hayden was 19, but he wrote a will. And he didn't finish it, but he started writing a will. And I think this gives us a sense of what he wanted, what
Mm,
guidance or this little black notebook that he had beside his bed. And his mother found it after Hayden passed away. And he wrote, "I don't want people to disrupt their lives grieving. Keep working, keep loving, keep smiling, keep contributing to the community. And remember me with a nice haircut, not bald." And then he says, "I want to be a beacon of light. Sorry, I want to be a beacon of joy and happiness, whether alive or in the next world. Please fulfill this wish for me if I am
mm,
unable to do so myself.
mm.
Try whenever you can to bring a smile to people's faces, to be a light in a dark room. So do what you can."
please DM me your address, and my social media team will get you a book out. And please pick it up. You can get it everywhere, right? On Amazon, just search 19. Spell it out, by the way. Spell
Yes,
it out.
19 by Adam Robarts. You'll get it. It should be in bookstores from today.
And I hope that anybody who needs this book receives this book. So thank you so much. And if you just press that X there in the top corner, we can part ways, and I'll talk to you so soon.
Great.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you, Adam. Aloha, brother.
Aloha.
Oh, so again, the book is 19 from Adam Robarts, about an incredible boy. If you liked Clouds, if you like the story of Zach Sobiek, you're gonna love 19. And I know that they are getting into trouble together, wherever they are in the next world. And for those of you who stayed, I made you a promise. And a tiny little dot, but it looks crazy. For anyone who's asking about It Ends With Us, interestingly enough, I just got a text from the writer who told me, not Colleen, the screenwriter, who told me that the latest draft of the script is in my email right now. So that is the update. So I'm going to get off, and I'm about to go read It Ends With Us, the movie. Mwah. I'm sending you all so much love, and take care of yourselves. Take a deep breath, and remember, you are enough. Mwah. Bye, everybody.